Now let's take a look at some of the activities in the National Assembly during the week. The Senate has passed for second reading a bill seeking to amend the Act establishing the Code of Conduct Bureau and its Tribunal. The sponsor of the bill, Senator Peter Nwaboshi, said the amendment of Section 3 of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act is to allow every public officer who appears before the Bureau a fair hearing. However, another federal lawmaker voiced concerns over the timing of the amendment of the bill.
In my proposed amendment, the section now looks like this. The functions of the Bureau shall be to receive access declaration by officers in accordance with the provisions of this Act. B, take and retain copies of such access declarations. And C, examine the access declarations and ensure that they comply with the requirements of this Act and any other law for the time being in force. If otherwise, the Bureau shall invite the public officer concerned and take down his statement in writing. It is clear that the Act does not contemplate criminal trial, so the usage of Criminal Procedure Act and Criminal Procedure Code should not be used as a procedural template in the tribunal.
What I have against it is the timing. We must be very worried of the issue of public perception about the position of the Senate in this regard. Perception can be reality. The Nigerian people can easily interpret the action we are taking today to mean that for all these years, a bill or it started as a decree which became law since 1991 is not being challenged until today. Our principal officer is standing before the same tribunal.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian police force is set to begin recruitment of men and women into the force. At a meeting with the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, Mr. Michael Kiro, says over 550,000 applicants have indicated interest to be recruited into the Nigerian police force. However, Mr. Kiro explains that only 10,000 spaces are available. Also speaking at the meeting, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Solomon Arate, said only credible applicants would be recruited into the police force.
This is for the benefit of everybody to ensure that whatever exercise we are carrying out with the best of intentions, with minimal discomfort for anybody, and ensure that the right people, because I always said it, we're recruiting 10,000 people, and right now, 550,000 have applied, which means there's no room for any person not qualified to enter. So some people are going about making publications, bringing extraneous situations into this recruitment, trying to give credibility to what they are writing by bringing falsehood and trying to color it as if it is true.
We want to put in some technology into the recruitment of our officers. We are going to deploy polygraph tests for most of them. We are going to we have testing kits for people who are drug addicts. We will not want such people to come into our system because we believe we should be able to bring in credible Nigerians, people who are fit and proper to police the society.
Speaking at an interview with Channels Television afterwards, the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Legislative Compliance is assuring that the planned recruitment for the police force would be done without controversy.
The National Assembly, House of Rep in particular, we are doing our best to ensure that this recruitment does not become another usual mess we find ourselves anytime we want to increase. And if you look at the situation in the country, there's massive unemployment. It's really bad. It's horrible. We must not deceive ourselves. And if at a point the government wants to employ 10,000, recruit them into the Nigerian police, that's massive, and that has generated a whole lot of interest. And there is frenzy in the air. And there's this apprehension at the same time, will it not be business as usual? But we want to assure Nigeria that this time around, it's not going to be business as usual. There's always a resolution to that effect that it must be certain number per local government.
The Senate is to begin investigations into the operations of the NNPC's joint venture cash calls obligations. A federal lawmaker, Senator Basi Akpan, in a motion during the week, drew the attention of the Senate to the persistent constraints by the NNPC to meet its cash call obligations. Senator Akpan said the inability of the NNPC to meet its joint venture cash call obligations has led to loss of confidence of investors in the oil and gas sector.
This Senate further notes that the current outstanding cash calls obligations in the oil and gas sector stands at over $6 billion. This Senate is aware that the cash calls are treated as first-line item by NNPC before remittance of available and outstanding balance on its collectible revenue from crude oil sales to the Federation account, and as such should be treated in accordance with fiscal appropriation approval of this National Assembly. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this Senate observes that the effective utilization of joint venture cash calls will enhance production, reserve sustainability, and the general portfolio management of the oil and gas industry. This Senate is disturbed that where the NNPC fails to meet its joint venture cash calls obligations, there is nothing absolutely the international oil companies, IOCs, can unilaterally do to salvage the situation, hence the current law in the industry.
Now, still on the oil and gas sector, the House of Representatives has ordered an investigation into the current status of the NNPC crude oil and product distribution pipeline network and depots across the country. A federal lawmaker, Representative Toby Okechukwu, in a motion expressed worry that the non-utilization of the pipelines has led to petroleum and other products being conveyed through the roads, thus resulting in countless incidences of petrol tanker explosions in various parts of Nigeria and also exacting heavy toll on the road network. The House, in its resolution on the motion, mandated its Committee on Petroleum Resources downstream to carry out an investigation and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action.
The House is aware that the 9 LPG depots, which cost billions of naira to build, have not been put to use over 20 years since their construction, in spite of challenges of accessing cooking gas or LPG by most Nigerians, thus leading to decay of pipeline and depots. The House is also aware that the network, which is managed by the Pipelines and Products Marketing Company, PPMC, a subsidiary of NNPC, also supplies refined petroleum products to strategic locations and distribution depots from where tankers leave products to designated retail outlets across Nigeria. The House is worried that the non-utilization of the pipelines has led to petroleum and other products being conveyed through the roads, thus resulting in countless incidents of petroleum tanker explosions in various parts of Nigeria, and also exacting heavy tolls on the road network. The House is alarmed by the report that the PPMC, the product distribution arm of NNPC, accounted for 87% of the over 350 billion loss incurred by NNPC in the first 8 months of 2015. The House is convinced that a fully functional and efficient products pipeline distribution network and operational buttonization plant will reduce accidents and gridlocks in our highways and save Nigeria huge sums of money, both in man-hours and road maintenance.
Now, this is where we draw the curtains on this week's edition of the Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelcv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.